No, I'm angry because you leave your son in here while you watch TV in there. And no, don't say it's because of his epilepsy. I I'm angry because all he ever gets at Christmas is a pair of socks. One year a towel, Mom, all wrapped up in Santa Claus paper, but most of all, I am angry because you never, ever kiss him. I have never seen you kiss Tom. Hold him in all the years. Never. Oh, not now. Not now when he's a grown man. But then. I remember kissing him. How I used to sneak into his room and climb into bed with him and whisper to him silly jokes and childish stories. We grew up together, but I got all the kisses and he got what? Mom. He got what? Soapy flannels and passive exercises? No, don't tell me he needed those things. How could you not kiss your son? Mom, whatever happened to him, it happened inside of you. That should draw you together, shouldn't it? And he looks at you as if you were a god, a shining, breathtaking God, and you know he does. You know he does.
Well there, a state of mind. Husband died 7 months ago. Must I pay the interest or mustn't I? I ask you, must I pay or must I not? Suppose your husband is dead, and you've got a state of mind and nonsense of the sort, and your steward's gone away somewhere, devil take him. What do you want me to do? Do you think I can fly away from my creditors in a balloon, or what? Or do you expect me to go and run my head into a brick wall? I go to Gruzdev, he isn't at home. Yaroshevich has hidden himself. I had a violent row with Kurizin and nearly threw him out of the window. Mozgo has something the matter with his bowels, and this woman has a state of mind. Not one of these swine wants to pay me. And just because I'm too gentle with them, because I'm a rag, just a little axe in their hands. I'm much too gentle with them. Just you wait. You'll see what I'm like. I shan't let you play about with me, confound it. I shall jolly well stay here until she pays. Brr, how angry I am today. How angry I am. All my inside is quivering with anger and I can't even breathe. Oh my word, I even feel sick. Waiter, get me some water. What a way to reason. A man is in desperate need of his money, and she won't pay it because, you see, she is not disposed to attend to money matters. Puh, that's real silly feminine logic. That's why I never did like and don't like now to have to talk to women. I feel quite chilly, and it's all on account of that little bit of fluff. Well, you can be ill for a week if you like, and I'll be here for a week. If you're ill for a year, I'll stay for a year. I'm going to get my own, my dear. You don't get at me with your widow's weeds and your dimpled cheeks. I know those dimples.
Have I ever told you the story of Raymond Qualls? Not much story to it. Boy, I had a crush on when I was 13 or so. Real rough looking guy. I mean, messy hair, worn out Levi's, terrible underbite. But he had these beautiful cowboy boots, shiny chocolate leather. He was so proud of these boots. You can tell by the way he'd strut around, all arms and elbows puffed up in cocksure. I knew that I had to get me a girly pair of those same boots, and he would ask me to go steady. Convince myself of it. he'd see me walking in those boots and he'd go, now there's the gal for me. Saw the boots downtown in a window and just went crazy. Must have asked my mom about 100 times for those boots. Hey V, what you want for Christmas, Mama? I would give it all up for a pair of those boots. Bargaining, you know. She started dropping hints about a package she had wrapped under the tree. About the size of a shoebox. Real pretty wrapping paper. Now, V, don't you go and cheat and look in that there box. Christmas morning, I was up like a shot boy under that tree, tearing up the packaging. There were boots there, all right. Men's work boots. Holes in the toes. Chewed up laces. Caked in mud and dog poo. My mama must have laughed for days. My mama was a mean, cruel woman. Guess that's where I got it from.
Trumpets, blow loud, send thy brass voice through lazy tents, and every Greek of metal shall let him know what Troy means fairly shall be spoken aloud. We have the great Agamemnon here in Troy, a prince called Hector and his father Priam, with their dull, long-continued truce. It is rusty grown. He bade me take a trumpet, and to this purpose speak, kings, princes, and lords. If there is any among the fairest in all of Greece, that holds his honor higher than his ease, that seeks praise and knows not of his peril, that knows his valor and knows not of his fear, and that loves his mistress more than in his confession, with truant vows to her own lips he loves, and to dare avow her beauty and her worth in other arms than hers, to him this challenge. Hector, in view of all Trojans and Greeks, shall make it good or do his best to do it. He hath a lady wiser, fairer, truer than any Greek shall encompass in his arms, and tomorrow with trumpets call midday between the tents and the walls of Troy to rouse the Grecian in true love. If any, Hector shall honor him, and if none, he shall stay in Troy where he shall retire. Grecian dames are sunburnt and not worth the splinters of a lance.
Oh, thanks. Oh, thank you. You're an expert, I guess. You know what sucks? Not as in I didn't get asked to the prom sucks, but I mean actual truthful sucking. I've seen a couple of guys in here who've come from Afghanistan, and they've had, they've been hit with IEDs, or whatever you call it. They get all torn up, and they get amputated. They're like heroes, They come home, there's a parade down the street, somebody puts them in a commercial for the rest of their lives, and they got people standing up and saying, thanks for your service, or whatever. It's so stupid to say it. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of guys who got a cooler story of how they get in a wheelchair, because I've got no reason except dumb luck. Except bad luck, I mean. I guess the luck I had was that I didn't die, and now I've got half of me that's never going to work again. And I'm going to be lugging these useless things for the rest of my life. And if I've gone blown up, if I'd gone amputated, then I'd get the artificial legs. I'd walk again. Give me those Oscar Pistorius blades, and I'd be like something out of the future. And instead I got this. Like I'm trailing dead snakes wherever I go. I pretty much wet the bed every night. I'm learning to put on my clothes, and I wet the damn bed every night. I can't feel it. I can't even feel it. I'm lying there in this mess, and I don't even know. Like I'm some kind of infant that can't... People don't look at me anymore. They don't look at me. They look past me or they go crouch down next to me like I'm some kind of toddler, or they look at my legs or the chair, or
Marry a fool. Can there be a greater misery to a woman? That means to keep her days true to her husband and no other man. Why, how can I obey and honor him, but I must needs commit idolatry? A fool is but the image of a man. Oh, the heart-breakings of miserable maids where love's enforced. The best condition is but bad enough. When women have their choices commonly, they but buy their thraldoms, and in great portions to men, to keep 'em in subjection, as if a fearful prisoner were to bribe his keeper to be good to him, and yet lies in it still. And glad of good usage, good look, byre lady. No misery surmounts a woman's. Men buy their slaves, women buy their masters. And yet, honesty and love make all this happy, and next to angels the most blessed estate, that providence that made every poison of some good use, and sets four warring elements at peace in man, can make a harmony in things most strange to human reason. Oh, but this marriage!
Odds piggins, can it be 6 mile yet? I've gone all night. Faith, I'll lie down and sleep. Oh, but soft! Oh, gods and goddesses, a headless man! The garments of Posthumus. This bloody man they care on't. I hope I dream. But 'tis not so. Her very eyes sometimes like her judgments, blind. Good faith, I tremble still with fear. The dream's still here. It is without me as within me, not imagined, felt. I know the shape of his leg. This is his hand. His foot mercurial, his martial thigh, the bronze of Hercules. His jovial face. Pisanio, thou conspire with that irregulous devil Claudin hath cut off my lord. Damn Pisanio hath forged his forged letters. Damn Pisanio from the most bravest vessel struck main top. Oh! Posthumus, where is thy head? Ay me, where is that?
God's bread, it makes me mad. Day, night, hour, tide, time, work, play, alone in company. Still, my care hath been to have her matched. And now, having provided a gentleman of noble parentage, of fair demeans, youthful and nobly trained, stuffed, as they say, with honorable parts, proportioned as one's thought should wish a man. And then to have a wretched, puling fool, pah! A whining mammoth in her fortune's tender, to answer, I'll not wed, I cannot love, I am too young, I pray you, pardon me. But, as you shall not wed, I'll pardon you. Graze where you will, you shall not house with me. Look to it, think on it. I do not use to jest. Thursday is near. Lie hand on heart, advise, and you be mine. I'll give you to my friend. And you be not hang, beg, starve, die in the streets. For by my soul, I'll ne'er acknowledge thee. Nor shall what is mine never do thee any good. Trust to it. Bethink you, I'll not be forsworn.
What? Would you have a man bind himself to the first girl he falls in love with? Say farewell to the world of her sake, and have no eyes for anyone else? A fine thing, to be sure, to pride oneself upon the false honor of being faithful to lose oneself and one passion forever, and to be bind of our youth, of up to all the other beautiful women who can captivate our gaze. No, no, not constancy. It is the stare of fools. Every beautiful woman has a right to charm us, and the privilege of having been the first to be loved should not deprive the others of the just pretensions which the whole sex has over for our hearts. As for me, beauty delights me, wherever I meet with it, and I am easily overcome by the gentle violence which it hurries along. It matters not if I am already engaged. The love I have for a fair one cannot make me unjust towards the others. My eyes are always open to merit, and I pay the homage and tribute nature charms. I cannot refuse my love to any of the lovely women I behold, and as soon as a handsome face asks it to me, if I had 10,000 hearts, I would give them all away. There is nothing more to wish for. All the attraction of love is over, and we should fall asleep in the tameness of such passion, unless some new object came to awake our desires and present us to the attractive perspective of new conquest. In short, nothing can surpass the pleasure of triumphing over the resistance of a beautiful maiden. And I have this in the ambition of conquerors who go from victory to victory and cannot bring themselves to the limits to their longing. I have a heart big enough to be in love with the whole world. And like Alexander, I wish for the spheres of which I could extend my conquest.
Okay, fine. I get it. That's fine. Keep doing yoga. I'll talk. You just... Good. I'm glad you're doing yoga. It's not my thing, but hey, you're happier when you're doing yoga. But I need to talk to you, and I need to do it now. So, I'm sorry for interrupting. I know you don't like being interrupted when you're... I'm sorry. That's it. Really. I mean, there's more. I came to apologize. First, let me say it wasn't my intention ever to let things go on like this. To be absent. To be emotionally unavailable to you. For you. But that's exactly what I've been. Absent. No, worse than that. It is a confession, okay? And I really wish you'd stop sun saluting so I can talk to you. Fine. You want to make a fool out of me. Maybe it's what I deserve. Let's just put it behind us. Everything that happened before this moment is over, okay? It's over. And right now, I need you by my side more than ever. You've changed too, okay? You think I like the way things are? The way things have been between us? Of course I don't. I'm not happy. We're not happy. But that's not always how things have been. We used to be best friends. And I mean, that sounds corny when I'm saying it now, but I don't care. We were. And you know, I don't think you understand the amount of pressure I'm under lately with the planning and zoning subcommittees and the board of selectmen. They want to lynch me, it seems, and just a daily assault of commissions, hearings, municipal analysis, endless procedures and bureaucrat nonsense and blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, I don't feel like I can come to you anymore. Not like I used to. I'm sorry, that's just how I feel.
I will never stand before God's altar and ask God's blessing on so hideous a mockery as a marriage between me and George Hanford. I will not say the words the church bids us to say. I will not say them. How could I swear to love the man I loathe, to honor him who wrought you dishonor, to obey him who, in his mastery, caused me to sin? No, marriage is a sacrament between those who love each other. It is not for such as him, or for such as me, Gerald, to save you from the world's sneering and taunting. I have lied to the world. For 20 years I have lied to the world. I could not tell the truth. No, Gerald, no marriage, church wallet, or state maid shall ever bid me to George Hanford. Men don't understand what mothers are. I am no different from other women except in the wrong done me and the wrong I did and my very heavy punishments and my great disgrace. And yet to bear you, I had to look on death. To nurture you, I had to wrestle with it. Death bought me for you. All women have to fight death to keep their children. Death being childless wants to take our children from us. Gerald, when you were naked, I gave you clothes. When you were hungry, I gave you food. Night and day, all long winter, I tended you. And no office is too mean. No care is too lonely for the one thing that we women love, and oh, how I loved you. When you needed love because you were weakly. And love was the only thing that could keep you alive. Love is the only thing that can keep anyone alive. And boys are careless. Thinking give no pain. And we always fancy that when they come to a man's estate, that they know better to repay us. But it is not so.
No offense, but you have no idea. You have no idea what it's like to be shunned by your government. You see, it really is my government, my constitution, my Declaration of Independence, my mayor, my police department. It's what I grew up with. It's what I was taught to love and respect. I have a little brother, you know, and when he turns 18, they could send him to Iraq or Afghanistan or wherever. My brother, my blood could die for my country, but they won't let me stay. My government won't let me dream. When I was a little girl, I was about 5 or 6 years old, I guess. My dad was helping me make a birthday card for my mom at the kitchen table, and he said to me, "Eres mi Victoria. ¿Sabes lo que significa eso?" And I said, "It means I'm your Victoria. I'm your Vicky." And he said, "No, tu nombre Victoria. significa salir adelante. Te escogí ese nombre porque hagas lo que hagas, siempre saldrías adelante, saldrías victoriosa. It means victory. I picked that name for you because no matter what happens, your life will end in victory. And I believe that. I still believe that. I did quit once last spring. My brain was exhausted from fighting, I guess. As you go to sleep saying, tomorrow I am going to fight. And you wake up the next morning and you say it again. But if you don't, you go crazy worrying about who's going to stop you in the street, or if your classmate's a closet bigot and decides he's going to call the sheriff to snitch you out. Well, I decided not to shrivel up and blow away. Ever since I found out about this thing called college, I never stopped thinking about it. When I got my undergrad, my parents came to the Hispanic convocation with like 40 people. I mean, sure, they invited my tios and tias and cousins, but there was all these other people I didn't even know. I found out later that some of them were my dad's coworkers, and this one woman he just met at the supermarket. He was just so proud. He wanted to invite everyone to see me graduate. The graduation party after cost him a fortune, but it was the best day of my life. Yo sé que te preocupas y no te quiero ofender, pero ni tienes idea de cómo se siente cuando tu propio gobierno te ignora. Este es mi gobierno. Así crecí yo, con mi constitución, mi alcalde, mi departamento de policía. ¿Sabes qué? Yo tengo un hermanito y cuando él cumpla 18 años, tienen el derecho de mandarlo a Irak o Afganistán o donde les da la gana. Mi hermano, mi sangre puede perder su vida por este país. Este país que me enseñó a amar y respetarlo. Él mismo ni me deja quedarme aquí. Mi gobierno no me deja tener sueños. Cuando yo era chiquita, mi papá y yo estábamos haciéndole una tarjeta de cumpleaños a mi mamá y me dijo, eres mi victoria. ¿Sabes lo que significa eso? Y le dije, pues sí, significa que soy tu victoria, soy tu Vicky. Y me dijo, no, tu nombre Victoria significa salir adelante. Te escogí ese nombre porque hagas lo que hagas, siempre saldrías adelante, saldrías victoriosa. De vez en cuando me recuerdo de esta conversación. A veces tanto que me hace harta de mi nombre, pero yo lo creí. Todavía lo creo. Había una vez el año pasado, no lo podía soportar y me rendí. Mi mente estaba a punto de agotarse. Era por tanto luchar. Te vas a dormir diciendo, mañana voy a luchar. Mañana despiertas repitiéndolo. Pero si no, te vuelves loca preocupándote por si alguien te va a parar en la calle o si un conocido racista te va a entregar al sheriff. Decidí no darme por vencida. Desde que escuché la palabra universidad, siempre ha vivido en mi mente. Cuando agarré mi licenciatura, mi papá y mamá vinieron a la graduación con 40 personas. Obviamente fueron mis tíos y todos los primos, pero había toda esta gente que nunca los había conocido. Hasta había una mujer que había conocido en el supermercado. Mi papá era tan orgulloso de mí que quería invitar a todo el mundo a mi graduación. La fiesta me costó una fortuna, pero fue el mejor día de mi vida.
How I became king of the great expanding universe. Yes, yes. I was not always the king of the great expanding universe. My father was not the king of the great expanding universe. But back then, there was no king of the great expanding universe. The universe was just a series of unrelated, non-governed socialists, communists, anarchists, hedonists, neorealists, and vaguely democratic republican principalities, which is to say, oligarchies. So then, how did I become king of the great expanding universe? Surely by being elected. No. The secret is that I feel like you can keep a secret. Can you keep a secret? Well, you better. The secret is I did it all through misinformation, intimidation, brute force, deceit, murder, bribery, theft, breaking laws, changing laws, murder. Wait, did I say murder? Misinformation, teaching the people to blame themselves for their own misfortunes. First, you create a corporation. It can be a small corporation, but it must be profitable. Then, you buy another corporation. You don't even have to have the money to do so. You just have to outsource labor to children and those in poverty. Then your profits will be high. Then, you buy your first politician. Oh, I remember the day I bought my first politician, the pride I felt. That was a good day. Buy more politicians and buy more corporations. Diversify. Don't just own an oil company. Own the phones. Own the newspapers and the television and the houses and the grocery stores and the cable and the cars and the internet and small countries. Continue ad infinitum. And don't be afraid to use brute force. You could start a war to make money. You don't even have to win. You could do anything as long as you own enough politicians. And what is important is you must never, ever back down. You must crush them. Crush them, crush them, crush them.
The subject of the scene is as follows. A shepherd was paying every attention to the beauties of a play when he was disturbed by a noise close to him. And on turning round, he saw a scoundrel who, with insolent language, was annoying a young shepherdess. And after having chastised the brute for his insolence, he came near the shepherdess to comfort her. He sees a young girl with the most beautiful eyes he has ever beheld, who is shedding tears, which he thinks the most precious in the world. Alas, says he to himself, can anyone be capable of insulting such charms? Where is the unfeeling wretch, the barbarous man to be found who will not feel touched by such tears? And he endeavors to stop these beautiful tears, and the lovely shepherdess takes the opportunity of thanking him for the slight service he has rendered her. But she does it in a manner so touching, so tender, and so passionate that the shepherd cannot resist it. In each look, each word is a burning shaft which penetrates his heart. He tries every means to meet again, but the great watch which is kept over his shepherdess deprives him of all the power of doing so. The violence of his passion urges him to ask in marriage the adorable beauty without whom he can no longer live. But he is told, in the meantime, that the father of whom he loves has decided upon marrying her to another. Judge what a cruel wound for the heart of that poor shepherd. At last, he breaks through all restraint, and the passion of his love forces him to speak as follows.
A C? A C. I got a C on my coat hanger sculpture? How can anyone get a C in coat hanger sculpture? May I ask a question? Was I judged based on the piece of sculpture itself? If so, is it not true that time alone can judge a work of art, Or was I judged on my talent? If so, is it fair that I be judged on a part of my life over which I have no control? If I was judged on my effort, then I was judged unfairly, for I tried as hard as I could. Was I judged on what I had learned about this project? If so, were not you, my teacher, also being judged on your ability to transmit your knowledge to me? Are you willing to share my see? Perhaps I was judged on the quality of coat hanger out of which my creation was made. Now, is this not also unfair? Am I to be judged on the quality of coat hangers used by our dry cleaning establishments that returns our garments? Is that not the responsibility of my parents? Should they not share my see? Thank you, Miss Oathmar. The squeaky wheels gets the grease.
You gotta let the last man go. It's honorable. He's the last one to make it out of the bag. The warrior. He's the last samurai, man. You have to give it some thought and wonder. How did this little M&M do it? How is he skilled enough to be the last M&M in the bag out of all the other M&Ms in the bag? All the different colors, all the different sizes. I like to let the last one go because he was the strongest, the swiftest, the smartest peanut out of the bunch. If you respect the candy, you gotta respect the nut. Some people will call it science. Others will call it luck. I like to call it destiny. It was destiny combined with talent that made this little fella survive. Picture it. All of the other peanuts, some bigger than you, some faster than you, some smarter than you, all fighting to stay alive in the back of the bag as you turn it upside down to eat one. This little fella beat the odds. He deserves to be set free on moral obligation alone. Call me crazy, but no matter what you say, I'm always going to let the last man go.